so at this point, I would give my students their final paper. So I would have a paper, a really long sort of rectangle. It would be folded in half. After we draw it out, it will be taped on the sides and the top will stay open. So that way they can get into their folders, they can get their artwork out, and it stays nice and neat for their the rest of the year. So until they get to take it home. Okay, so we're gonna start with our portfolio. We are going to start sketching out with a pencil. You choose whatever style you want. I would look off of your examples, think about what you want to do. Again, you might want to have these guidelines. You might use a ruler, so that way your letters are going from one side to another. If you have a longer name, you might need to make it shorter so that it can fit, or your letters will be skinnier. So you kind of see what works for you. I'm just gonna kind of sketch out some ideas here. If you are doing super straight letters, definitely use a ruler. So I have my name written out. It is kind of sketchy, but I did use a pencil. You'd probably draw lighter than this so that you can erase. At that point, I would ask my students to outline. So I let them use any color that they want. My favorite to use is black. I'm just simple. I like to make it clean and neat. Being an art teacher, you think I'd be a little bit more colorful, but I like it to be simple. Okay, so I have my name drawn out. I have it outlined. That's all I really need for that. And then at this point, I could erase those extra pencil marks. So that way, all we see is the marker. Okay, if you use a ruler to draw your letters, if they're supposed to be completely straight, you would use a ruler again. You're gonna use that ruler again so that your marker lines are straight. So at that point, we have a couple of decisions that we can make. I have a lot of students that are interested in kind of this shadowing technique. So we have these like cast shadows. What I would suggest for that, we're not going to be too serious about it. We're not going to worry about 1 point perspective or anything like that. We're just going to pick one side of the letter. So say for this one, I chose the left side. So the left side, you can see I added these extra like lines to it, these extra black marks. I made it thicker on the left side so that it looks like it was a shadow. So you can add those as well, just pick a side, okay? Either left or right, top or bottom, just pick a side, okay? And then you can add those shadows. So you can just outline, just go right back over it. I like to make a second line. And then fill it in. You could leave it like that. You don't even have to fill it in. That looks kind of cool too. Once we add the shadow, it really just brings it to life. So that's not required in my class, but I really like the look of the shadow. So if that's something you like, it's pretty easy to add that on. Okay, you're just tracing one side of your letters and adding in that kind of shadow. Okay, after that, I move on to color. It's not complete without some color. So you figure out what kind of color scheme you like to do. I always use colored pencils. My class always uses colored pencils because there's a lot of techniques that you can use with them. I would practice in your notebooks or on a separate sheet of paper. If you have those practice ones that you used in the first place, that's a great place to start. So I would pick several different colors. I would think about what colors look good together or what colors really show your personality. What do you like? Like what kind of colors kind of speak to you? And then a couple techniques that you can do is you can take your letters, you can press harder with your pencil. So you guys know what happens when you press harder? I bet you can guess, but it's going to look a little bit darker, right? So you're gonna press harder. I normally start with the darkest colors on the bottom, but you can kind of do whatever you want. But then from there, you're gonna start pressing a little bit lighter. If I am transitioning to a different color, I definitely lighten it up before I change colors. Otherwise, it will look more like a rainbow. It'll look more like blocky, like stripes. And I don't really like that look. I like it blended together. But it does depend on what you're trying to do. So say I'm going to be mixing in a next color, I go up quite a bit with my really light value. I'm pressing really lightly. So that way when I overlap the other color, I have some space and it gets lighter as you go up. So maybe from that point, I just picked some colors that I liked. I'm gonna take this one and I'm going to press lightly on this one as well. So I'm gonna go over the color that I just added. And then as I go up, I'm gonna start pressing harder and getting a little bit darker. Okay, so that way we're kind of blending. We're blending these colors. We're not using anything to like literally blend it on the paper. We're not using our finger to blend. Colored pencils don't really blend the same way. It depends on the colored pencil, I guess. But pressing harder as you get darker or you get further up, and then you can get lighter as well so that you can blend on to the next color. So you just keep going, figure out what color pattern you like, what color scheme. You could do each letter a different color. You could do them the same pattern, just all across the page. Just figure out what you like. Again, don't do it unless you like it. Love what you're doing. Coloring. At this point, I would suggest that we would move on to the background. So we made these really cool letters. We might as well finish up the whole thing and make it a completed artwork. If you want to just focus on lettering, that's fine. But if you're doing a portfolio, think about what's in the background. So you think about what you like, what kind of shows you again as a person, what's your personality like, what are your interests? Think about what kind of shows you and who you are. So the biggest thing about the portfolios is for me to get to know you, to know my students. So I really love to see like what you guys are into. Do you like nature? Do you like to go outside? Do you like these really clean lines like I did in the background? Do you like these precise sort of drawings? You can tell in the background of this one, I did some stripes in the background closer together, and as they get towards the bottom, they're further apart. I mean, it's totally doable. It's not like it's super complicated. You can also do different shapes like this. I did sort of like these triangles on the top and just these rectangles on the bottom. Think about how you can color them and think about how you can just tie it all together. If you love sports, maybe go that route. If you love music, maybe include something about music. Just think about what you like what kind of person are you? So I encourage you, make it your own. Think about just how do you show yourself? How can you present yourself through your artwork? We are going to stop at that point. We are going to be using these again as folders, and it's going to be really awesome. We're going to have a lot of cool stuff that we will do this semester if you are my student. If not, I hope that you learned something today and maybe you can take it to your class. So if you could like my videos, subscribe, let me know what you guys like, what you want to see. I'm really going to try to post more videos and things that you guys might want to see outside of class. Hope you guys have an awesome day. Enjoy yourselves.
make something